Hello there, good evening indeed, and many thanks for joining us on Rwanda Television News tonight. We do hope you had yourselves a great start to your week. Now, this is what is coming up on Edition. On Thursday, President Paul Kagame chaired an extraordinary cabinet meeting to review the government's response to the recent floods and landslides. Those who were affected by the disasters, who were sheltered in schools and church buildings, are happy to be relocated to Rwanda site because it has basic facilities, including water, electricity, and cleaning. To you once again and welcome to Rwanda Television News. Now we'll go to news into details. On a Thursday, President Paul Kagame chaired an extraordinary cabinet meeting to review the government's response to recent floods and landslides and the next steps in supporting those affected. And the communique reads, on Monday, May 8th, 2023, His Excellency Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, chaired an extraordinary cabinet meeting at Rugwiro village to discuss the government's response following the recent floods and landslides that affected parts of western, northern and southern provinces. The cabinet expressed condolences and sympathy to families who lost their loved ones, those injured and people that had to relocate from their homes due to the landslides and floods. Cabinet approved an emergency response plan aimed at reinforcing efforts to provide urgent relief to affected communities and instructed concerned institutions to implement the plan without a delay. The cabinet urged communities in flood-affected areas to exercise evacuation and be extra vigilant as more rains may be expected in the coming days. Citizens are requested to follow instructions provided by local authorities, including maintaining hygiene and sanitation standards in order to prevent potential disease outbreaks. The cabinet approved messages of condolences, appreciated messages of condolences and solidarity from Rwandans, friends and partner states, as well as gestures of support from citizens and various partners. The cabinet approved the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Policy. The cabinet approved the following draft laws. Draft law approving the ratification of the credit agreement between the Instituto de Credito Officio and the Republic of Rwanda relating to the credit for a Kayonza irrigation and integrated watershed management project phase 2. Draft law approving a ratification of financing agreement between the Republic of Rwanda and the International Development Association relating to the credit for stunting prevention and reduction project. The draft law approving the ratification of the grant agreement between the Republic of Rwanda and the International Development Association acting as administration of the multi-donor trust fund for scaling up nutrition and early learning partnership multi-donor trust fund relating to the stunting prevention and reduction project. Draft law approving a ratification of the agreement between the Republic of Rwanda and the Republic of Benin for double taxation avoidance. Draft law approving the ratification of the agreement between the Republic of Rwanda and the Czech Republic for double taxation avoidance. Done Kigali, May 8th, 2023, and signed Dr. Edouard Ngirente, Rwanda's Prime Minister. And moving ahead, those affected by the disasters who were sheltered in schools and church buildings are happy to be relocated to the Rwanda site because it has at least all the basic facilities, including water, electricity, and clinic. Olive Nete with more.
At first, those affected by these disasters were sheltered in churches and schools, but now they will be relocated to a new site. In Rwanda near Nyemiramihigo College, those who were relocated are content of the fact that the new place has basic infrastructure such as water, electricity, toilets and showers, and more.
It's
been 2 weeks since I gave birth, but how we are cared for in this site is different from how it was when we were in churches. We are sleeping on mattresses and my child is doing well and he spent the night well. I have a mattress and I am with my 4 kids. They are doing well. They have blankets and we even have mats. A small clinic was also established, but particularly parents with children are given other special facilities to help take care of the hygiene and health of their children.
nanjye ubwanjye ubwo nabaga nagiye gutabara nakandagiye mu icupa.
We're trying to rescue other people. I also get hurt. Till now, I'm still being treated, and I would say that they are really treating us in a convenient manner, and we are also being treated on a free cost. This is all because the President of the Republic promised to ensure that we are safe. That's why we thank him for that.
Umuyobozi w'igihugu yavuze ko agiye kudukurikirana kandi akatwitaho, nabyo turabimushimira.
So far, of the 4,500 disaster victims, more than 1,500 have been received in the Rugerero site, and the site is being expanded to shelter more people. In a sustainable manner, one of the expected solutions is the Muhira Model Village that is being built, and it will be completed in a month with the capacity to receive 120 families. The acting mayor of Rubavu, Nzabonima Deogratias, notes that Muhira Model Village will be expanded to accommodate as many families as possible, but there is a plan to build other model villages in various sectors of the district as well.
Hari abazatangira gukodesherezwa kugira ngo bave muri izi site ubona ko ari iz'agateganyo.
Some of them will be assisted in rent so that they can start to relocate and leave those temporary sites. And while they will be assisted in rent, they will continue to look for the means to continue living. And those who will not be able to afford that, we will keep assisting them in various ways until we relocate them in the model villages currently being constructed in Rugerero and Nyamunya sector.
Muri iyo midugudu y'ikitegererezo igiye kubakwa yatangiye kubakwa mu mirenge ya Rugerero n'umurenge wa Nyamyumba.
The buildings of the model village where people will be relocated in Muhira are about to be completed. What is left to be done is additional infrastructure, including asphalt roads, market, and early childhood development center, and more. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Students from various schools that were destroyed by floods from River Sebeya appreciate the work done by the government for them to have their studies resumed. Shina Teta.
Different schools, including École d'Art, Petit Séminaire, and Lycée Notre-Dame d'Afrique, were closed following the floods and landslides that killed over 200 people and destroyed thousands of infrastructure. Some of the classrooms that had been covered in mud have been cleared and are being used again, although the lower-level students in Petit Séminaire were moved to Saint-Fidèle in Rubavu for the meantime.
The students were moved here so that they don't get distracted. It is a safe and quiet place, and we believe that they won't decline in their performance.
Students from École d'Art and Lycée Notre-Dame d'Afrique are grateful for the resumption of their studies and appreciate being given scholastic materials, including new books that will replace the destroyed ones, saying that without doubt the goal is still excellence. We thought it was going to take a long time for us to resume to our studies, but we thank God for it has not delayed.
First and foremost, we thank our country and school leaders for providing the required materials, such as books, in order to resume our studies.
To prevent students from losing their notes, the school administration is planning to print those notes so as to make it easier for the learners.
We shall print students' syllabus in cooperation with their parents so that they're not left behind, and we believe that no doubt they will excel. Life has gotten back to normal, although we still have some issues like providing teaching materials for teachers. But with leaders from Menedik, we believe all will be solved.
Despite the fact that schools have resumed, École d'Art and Lycée Notre-Dame d'Afrique still have water shortage simply because the water pipes were destroyed. The Aquavirunga Association in charge of water supply in Rubavu assures that they are doing all they can so that the schools can have access to water not later than tomorrow. To support the students affected by the occurrence of floods, the Ministry of Education has provided about 6,000 notebooks and 1,200 pens to the learners. Shina Teta, RTV News.
Thank you, Shina Teta, for the report. Moving ahead, the president of Angola, Joao Lourenço, noted that although the M23 armed group has stopped fighting and withdrawn from all captured territories, on the other hand, the DRC government is keeping or has persisted in terms of complying with the Rwanda process. This was reiterated in an interview that President Lourenço had with French-based TV, France 24.
Angola, Joao Lourenço told France 24 that he now the M23 armed group, which he titled it as a Congolese armed group, unlike the government of Kinshasa, which always blamed Rwanda to support it. In an interview, President Lourenço noted that this armed group is keeping to comply with the requirements of the Rwanda process, including the cessation of hostilities and withdrawing the captured territories to the East African Community Region forces. According to Angola's president, he noted that DRC is keeping persisting in implementing its requirements.
We know that the M23 till today they are upholding the ceasefire. The next step, which unfortunately has not been yet taken, but it all depends not only on them as M23, but also the country itself, the Democratic Republic of Congo. The next step, as we all know, according to the Rwanda roadmap, is the cantonment of the M23 forces. We have achieved ceasefire. Now we need to get them into cantonments and start the process of disarmament and the reintegration of these Congolese citizens in the Congolese society. So
President Lourenço was asked if DRC would comply with demands.
obviously, we would like to see the timing of providing the condition for cantonment should be shortened as much as possible. But that's not what's happening. But we have to be confident.
At this point, President Lourenço emphasized that members of M23 armed group are the Congolese and that their case should be addressed by DRC itself and in DRC. One of the measures from the discussions that took place in July last year, 2022, on the DRC security issue that brought together President Paul Kagame of Rwanda, Felix Tshisekedi of DRC, and President Joao Lourenço of Angola. It noted that a method of dialogue should be prepared between the DRC government and the M23 armed group, and added that this armed group should withdraw their militias from its captured territories, though the DRC government continues to announce that it will never negotiate with this armed group. In the 11th high-level meeting of the Regional Oversight Mechanism of the Peace, Security and Cooperation Framework for Democratic Republic of Congo and the Great Lakes region, which was held in Bujumbura last week, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, once again condemned the expressions of hate speech and killings against innocent people in DRC, and also reminded parties involved to immediately implement all decisions contained in the Rwanda-Nairobi process.
Et je réitère mon appel envers tous les groupes armés. Déposez les armes immédiatement.
I will also urge all parties concerned in the political sphere and the people in general to stop using hate speech that causes chaos. All parties are required to comply with the measures made following the talks in Rwanda and Nairobi without further delay.
Des processus de Luanda et de Nairobi sans délai et sans exception.
However, the DRC government is keeping to insist not to hold any talks with the M23 armed group, but instead accuses Rwanda of supporting this group. President Lourenço noted that he does not accuse Rwanda for anything, as he pointed out the will of Rwanda in restoration of peace and security in the eastern DRC. On the other hand, the Southern Africa Development Community says that it is determined to send its troops to the eastern DRC. This is one of the measures taken at the SADC meeting held on Monday in Namibia. It's a meeting held by members of SADC Military and Security Council, which was led by President of Democratic Republic of Congo, Felix Tshisekedi, who is currently chairing the SADC. This is the Ambassador Jerome Shanika, the Executive Director at the Ministry of International Relations and Cooperation Multilateral Affairs in Namibia.
There are multiple actors, state and non-state actors that are operating in that areas. So I think this is now how are we going to, what are the mechanisms that can be put in place in order to put up a better coordination mechanism when you have too many multiple actors operating in the same area.
SADC has promised to send its troops to Eastern DRC, although no date and number of troops have been announced in that meeting. The only agreement is that these forces will be supporting Democratic Republic of Congo to restore peace and security in its eastern part. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Students, researchers and professionals in data science field have said that improvements in what they do effectively impact the socio-economic development of societies and continents in general, but countries as well. Data science researchers and professionals are convening in Rwanda for the Data Science Africa 2023 conference. Gislaine Mugwaneza.
Building long-lasting collaborations.
Data science researchers and professionals from 10 African countries and other continents are in Rwanda for the 5-day conference that will be discussing issues pertaining to this field towards socio-economic development. The acting vice-chancellor of the University of Rwanda, Dr. Didas Kayihura Muganga, has noted that utilizing data science helps different authorities in evaluation and planning for a better future.
Data science, as the theme of this year is data science and the socio-economic transformation. It is the workshop and the summer school here to assess the impact, what is the role of data science in socio-economic transformation, and that means we are going to be looking at interventions data scientists are contributing or are coming up with in resolving the day-to-day challenges the country, the university, the world are facing. Like with the use of data science, you can always see what are the issues, what are the challenges, and then the data scientists here will be helping to come up with kind of solutions, methodologies to approaching resolving those issues that are available. Researchers here will be presenting their cases, what they've come up with, and showcasing whether that would be, and trying to assess whether those interventions would be maybe prototyped and applicable here or in any other country, or if it is in education, the solutions solicited, the solutions found, would they be applicable to the challenges the University of Rwanda is facing?
Chira Maina, the director for data science and artificial intelligence, has said that African countries have started realizing the role of having knowledge about data science.
Agriculture is very important because if we employ things like data related to things like weather or things to do with soil, you can really improve food production. So there is a lot of interest in using AI for like disease identification, to help farmers know, okay, well, this is what my crops are suffering from, but also there is research in work that is allowing people to determine disease in plants before they can actually be visible to the human eye. And so that's an immediate application of data science in African context. And a lot of us are beginning to see the potential, and therefore there's a lot of interest. And in other sectors like finance, insurance, yes, and even health.
Students pursuing data science have no doubts that the knowledge they will acquire will help them in contributing to the African countries' social and economic development.
Buri kigo cyose kiba gifite data. Kiba gikeneye rero ko izo data zigira.
Every institution has got its data, so it is really essential to have meaningful data, since public and private institutions, even NGOs, need to be having meaningful information. For you to know those information that was given in codes requires you to study data science by using machine learning model that will enable you to help them.
Kugira ngo werekane ikintu ibyo bagomba gufataho ibyemezo ubafashe.
Geospatial data, maybe climate, how to analyze how the climate change has affected food security in Kenya, especially because we have a lot of food insecurity in Kenya, especially because of the climate change. So that's my main focus area.
Rwanda is the 8th country to host the Data Science Africa Conference. The 5-day conference is under the theme Harnessing Data Science for Africa's Socio-Economic Development. Gislaine Mugwaneza, RTV News.
We'll keep it to matters related to education. On a Tuesday, the Higher Education Council will launch or will start an exhibition of higher education and, of course, a competition for science and technology projects. The exhibition is aimed to promote the role of higher learning institutions in stimulating research and innovation. The Director General of the Higher Education Council, Dr. Mukankomeje Rose, noted that this exhibition is highly anticipated as they expect tangible results, including removing the misconception about the quality of education offered in these institutions. She further reiterated that the exhibition would offer an opportunity to link university students to innovators.
Mashuri makuru barigisha, mu mashuri makuru bakora ubushakashatsi, mu mashuri makuru ndetse ni naho bavumbura.
There is quality education in higher learning institutions. They do research and they create new things, but that is not enough since it is not known. People rather have the misconception that there is no quality education in higher learning institutions. So what we did, we consulted all our 38 universities so that they send projects they think can be exhibited, and from there, it can be developed and made useful as a way of promoting knowledge-based economy. The other thing we want is, there is no single country that developed without research and innovations that changed people's lives. Therefore, schools sent their projects and we put a team of experts to review and rank those projects to get the ones that will be exhibited.
Iya mbere akaba ariyo tuzabereka.
And on behalf of the entire news production as well as the technical team, many thanks for being with us on this edition of Rwanda Television News. Up until next time, stay safe and have a great evening. Goodbye.